heck is music publishing, man? We're here, and I'm so excited. I mean, I've known this dude for about a year, from TV placements to super awesome production. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Anthony Clint. What's up, dude?
What's up, man? I appreciate it, man. Thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here, and hopefully I can share some information that'll help you guys.
Yeah, so Clint, man, tell us exactly, like, how did you get your start in this whole music space, man?
Yeah, so I guess I was always musically inclined as a kid, just growing up in church and playing instruments, and started on the drums, and eventually transitioned into like keyboards and things around 16, around 15, 16 years old. That's when I was kind of intrigued by the whole process of music production. And I had a little cheap $10 program, and I would just, start putting loops together and things like that. And it was something that, me and my friends kind of played with. And then as time went on, it just grew. We got more serious about it, started, recording our own little projects, and it just kind of grew from there. And I always had this vision of, just start my own production company one day, and, just kind of producing music for, for big artists and things like that.
Did you actually produce your first, let's say track or record for an artist?
So I guess indie artists, professionally, I produced it, I would say back in about 2009, around the time I started the company, had my first indie artist in Columbus, Ohio. Shout out to Andrell. Nice. We still keep in touch. And then my first exposure to a major placement was around 2010, 2011. I was co-producing a record with the producer Scrap, for Music Soul Child. So that was like my first major exposure to, just the industry and how the process works with producing a record for me. He hit me up. I had music like on MySpace and stuff, and he hit me up and he was just like, it was a while ago, right?
Yeah.
So he wanted me to like play keys on some of his instrumentals because he was trying to pitch them for TV, and he was just telling me, he was just like, man, like this is like a whole nother market where you can start making music for TV and things like that. So I was like, I would go to his crib and just lay keys down. But at the time I didn't really get it. Like I still had like, major artists and things on my mind. I didn't really get that. But a couple years later, it kind of clicked, and I was just like, let me see, what he was talking about and kind of explore it. And he was telling me about Taxi, and then I had signed up with them at the time, and went out to like their road rally and got a lot of good information out there. And from then, I just kind of shifted my focus and was just trying to, trying to break into there. I didn't have any success. Honestly, the quality of my music just wasn't there yet. So fast forward to about 2011, I signed a publishing deal with the publisher that worked. They kind of worked to get you TV placements and things like that. And I got my first NFL Network placement through them. So that was like my first TV placement. And from there, I was just like, this is something I can pursue. I can make, another stream of income with. Yeah. And after I finished up my deal with them, like I decided to just really, really go hard and focus on it, and just try and get my music on as many shows as possible.
How important it is to still put out great content, great music, and is it okay to record wherever you are, but do you still now have to go through a master house to sort of like work those things out?
That's a good question. The quality definitely matters. It's easily accessible now, so everybody has, FL Studio and Pro Tools and all of that. So it's a lot of music online, it's a lot of producers, but quality still matters, and that helps you kind of stand out amongst the competition, because that's something that will always matter, quality. And yeah, literally you can make music anywhere. You don't need to pay, hundreds and thousands of dollars for a big studio these days, or even for mixing and mastering. I mean, they got services online excuse me, where you can get your tracks mastered for a fee. You can get your tracks mixed. I mean, mixing and mastering is a service that I offer. So, you know, everything is like online now, and I think it's a beautiful thing because it gives us producers and artists like more control of our work, and it allows us to reach people all over the world.
TV and film placements, do they care about making, like when you're making the first song and to present the song, like the music supervisor, right? Is it important to have those tracks fully mastered, or can you like send an idea to them in a WAV file? Like what's that whole transition like musically?
Yeah, I always recommend sending a finished and mastered track, especially if you're sending it to a music supervisor, because what can happen is, you know, you may send them an idea and it not be finished, or I'll put it this way, you'll send them a track and they may be working on something right at that moment to where they could put that track in the scene. And if it's not mastered and it's like half done, you can miss out on that. So you want it to grab their attention. You want it to be usable right away. So make sure it's mixed, it's mastered.
I took a class at Berkeley, Music Publishing 101. The professor kept saying that over and over, you know, and the track needs to be completed. It needs to be mastered, as if you're selling it the next day on iTunes or on a disc. And so Keeping Up with the Kardashians, that's a pretty big brand. How did you get that call, and how did you feel? How did you land that placement on that show?
So I was out of town. I think I had reached out to a publisher previously, probably weeks before, and I was out of town, and I had got a call. He had hit me back. He had listened to the demo that I submitted. It was just like, yo, it's like really great work. You know, I need some tracks working on this show. You know, send them to me when you can. So literally, like, I had some equipment with me out there. I had my laptop and you know, just like a little mini keyboard. So literally, like I had made tracks on the road. I didn't have any headphones. I had to go to Guitar Center and grab some headphones. But yeah, I pretty much made a batch of tracks out there and then submitted them. And then the first batch, he actually didn't like. He was just like, you know, I need something a little better. So I was like, okay, back to the drum board. And then the next batch of tracks he loved, and ended up signing to his publishing company. And then I don't know, maybe a couple months or a few months later, I found out that a lot of them were being used on Keeping Up with the Kardashians.
Clint, what is the importance of metadata?
So metadata pretty much helps music supervisors and editors find your music. It helps your music stand out, and it gives it like keywords, you know. So if you have an upbeat, happy party track, you want to put, you know, those emotions that track has, because when you know, content creators are looking for your tracks, they're searching things like upbeat song or party song or club song, or just different vibes and emotions that a song would get off, and that kind of helps. Then you also have like the title of the track. You want your composer names and percentages in there, the BPM, exactly, your BPM. Sometimes even the key of the song if the publisher wants that. Things that just kind of help, you know, identify the track and make it easy for them to know who the track belongs to and who should they contact, you know, if they want to use it. So it's really important.
Yeah, and that's a key word, contact, because I've oftentimes hear this out there, man. People don't put their contact information, and I mean, if it's not there, how are you going to be reached? And so those things are very important to identify the track. Is it important to also put your lyrics in the metadata? Is that important? What difference does that make?
Yeah, I would say, put it in the metadata, or you know, some publishers, they have protocols for lyrics where you know, send a PDF or a Word document with the lyrics. But that's important too, because your lyrics are kind of like keywords too. Like what is the song about? Because they may have a specific scene talking about, you know, my heart is broken, you know, how can we mend it, or something like that. And then if you have your lyrics, they can kind of read it and say, okay, this song is talking about, you know, what this scene is about. So it's a match. So yeah, that's good to have as well.
Now, talk to us about the mechanicals, you know, making sure that, you know, your song is completely registered with like a BMI, ASCAP, CSAC. And so every time the show airs, used to get performance royalties, correct?
Correct. Yeah, so yeah, to get your performance royalties, you have to be registered with ASCAP, BMI, or CSAC, or in other countries they have, you know, like SOCAN and Canada.
Gamer in Germany, yeah.
Yeah. So you definitely want to make sure you're registered with those, because every time that show's aired, you're going to get a performance royalty from it, and those companies pay out, they collect, and then they pay out your performance royalty. So so literally like every time, and like every network. So if the show's on like 5 different networks, every time it airs on each network, you're gonna get paid, and then when it airs overseas, you're gonna get paid for that eventually in the form royalties. So yeah, that's important to be registered with the pro.
Yeah, and plus the mechanicals, if the show gets on DVD or they created some kind of playlist for iTunes, that's another set of royalties, correct?
Correct. And then your mechanical royalties you would get through Harry Fox Agency. You sign up through with them, making sure your songs are registered through Harry Fox.
Yeah, and, you know, and it's very important, man, because we want the people to know what happens and how this thing actually works. You know, you can be a producer, which is great, but you want to stand out.
Right.
And you want to also have a publisher like myself. You want to have a producer like yourself who sort of make sure that you are fully protected, so that when royalties are generated, they're easier to be found. And I oftentimes deal with that from clients, man. This stuff is just out of order. You know, it's so funny how people have been in the music industry as a singer or songwriter, and bro, I use the word PRO and they say, PR what?
Yeah.
I don't know what that is.
Yep.
So I asked a young lady one time, I mean, she can sing, bro, sing for like 15 years.
Wow.
So I'm asking her, which PRO is she a part of? She said, what does that mean? I said, I told her performance rights organization. And she said, she doesn't know. I said, are you a member of BMI or ASCAP? And she said, I don't know. I said, what do you mean you don't know? Yes or no? So, you know, that kind of stuff trips me out sometimes. It's important.
It is.
If you're taking this thing seriously, then you gotta just go all the way. I want to get to a place where I actually see your name on the TV screen. I'm like, yo, I know that guy.
Yeah, right, exactly.
But I just don't want to call you, and then I hear click, 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 your number has been disconnected.
Oh no, man, I don't like changing numbers, man, because everybody that has it, it's just a pain. So I try and keep the same number, man.
Click, man, appreciate you, dude. All the best,
Likewise, man. Thank you for having me.
All right, man, peace.